Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Siobhan if you're new here. Today is going to be a little bit of a story time video. I don't really know why, but I have a tendency to attract very interesting people into my life. I have written a story time on my blog about a similar situation. I met this man on my flight to Vegas, and let's just say it was a crazy 4 or 5 hour flight. So if you want to read about that, I'm going to link it below. But today is about someone that I've met in San Diego. I have been here for about a month now. I met this person through the TaskRabbit app. Yeah, basically he's a bit of an oddball. If you like what you see in this video, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the story time. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by giving a little bit of an explanation behind TaskRabbit. So TaskRabbit is an app where people can hire you to do literally anything. People who are too busy to do little tiny things, and so they hire you to do them. A couple tasks that I have done, as an example, someone left their laptop at a hotel, so I literally went to the hotel, picked up the laptop, took it to UPS to overnight it to this person who was in Arizona or something. Another task I did, I picked up a birthday cake and hand delivered it to someone's friend for their birthday. There's really a handful of things you can do on TaskRabbit. So how it works is you set up your profile in the app, and then it has different skills that you select on your profile and you put your rate. Let me just pull up my app. The skills and rates that I have, just arts and crafts, cooking, baking, data entry, decoration, delivery, errands. Long story short, it's a pretty cool app. So when someone hires you, they go on the TaskRabbit app, they say, what category they need, and then they do what date. And based on the date and time that they select, they'll show the task. They're called taskers, so I'm a tasker. It would show the taskers that are available on that day and that time. So I set when I'm available, and I can set up to 2 weeks in advance, and I just do all day every day, because you can always reschedule with people. Once someone chooses you as a tasker and hires you, they have a little description of the job, how long they think it's gonna take to get done, and when they would like it done. And from there, you would chat with that client. This is all very relevant to the story, I promise. So, day one, this was last week sometime. It was about 5 p.m. I was making dinner and I got hired for a task. It wasn't weird until I looked at the task. So this man hired me 9:30 p.m. that night. And the description of the task was, I just moved but have not unpacked. I would like to schedule an hour tonight to meet and go over everything packed along with any details. Then hopefully, if you're still interested, I'd be glad to book for the morning. Thank you. Okay, that's already a little sketchy. You want me to come over at 9:30 p.m. for an hour to go over. You don't even want me to do the task tonight. The other thing about TaskRabbit is someone hires you to do a task and you literally go and you do the task. There's no initial meeting. So I am supposedly unpacking your apartment and organizing for you, right? There really doesn't need to be that much explanation. If you want me to do 5 hours one day, I come over, do my 5 hours. My point is, this whole initial meeting thing at 9:30 at night is just weird. It's things like this. It's why do I even have to argue this? It's just weird, okay? You should not be inviting a woman over at 9:30 at night. It's just weird. I've never met you, it's just weird. You don't want to forfeit tasks, you want to try to get the client to forfeit. So I chatted with him. I said, unfortunately, I do not have availability and would not be able to take care of this for you. Sorry about that. And he said, oh no, when would you be available again? You could just hire another tasker. You don't need me specifically to do this. This isn't something that only I can do. And then he messaged me and said, I was debating about going out of town tomorrow night. I may be able to hold off a week. No worries if not. I'll need help organizing my office and guest bathroom. So this also confused me, because it's Why would you cancel your plans just so I can come over and help you organize? I felt like it was a tactic to lure me in, like make me feel bad that like he has to reschedule for me. If organizing is such a priority, you probably wouldn't go out of town. Or if going out of town was such a priority, then you would just hire someone else. So I replied, how many hours worth of time do you think you'd need me for? Did you want the office and bathroom organized within the same day? He said, that's why I'd like to meet before, so you can see all the tasks that I wouldn't mind your help with, and then you can gauge how long you think you'd need, and we can figure it out then. Book you for those hours after the first meet/consultation. It can be whatever day as long as we have a good plan. Ha ha. I just need help organizing. I'm not the best, but I'm willing to learn. It kind of clicked with me that he might just be an idiot and not be considering that he hired a female for 9:30 at night. So I ended up scheduling it for the following day. And then he responded something of like, actually, I can read it to you. I said, I'd prefer to meet during the day initially. And his response was, no, I totally understand. I honestly wanted to book you for earlier today, but your availability only allowed me to schedule for 9:30 p.m. That's not true. I set my availability to all day, every day, purposely. So the fact that you say you couldn't schedule me till 9:30 p.m., okay. So the next day, going into this task, I did feel a little better because I was going during the day and I talked to him a little bit more, but I was still really nervous. Like, I literally was driving over there and I was like, Siobhan, if this is the day you die, I swear to God, like I was thinking of all the scenarios, what I would and wouldn't do, setting boundaries before I even like went in there, because it was, I mean, you literally never know. Messaged him when I parked. I said, just parked, da 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 da. He messaged me and asked where I parked. Why do you need to know where I parked? I was like, I'm just gonna go. I have the unit number. That was the other thing that I was like, okay, he can't completely murder me because he gave me an address through the app. I'm being communicated. Basically, someone can track me down. My roommate knew I was going to TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit can see these chats. Like, I'm good. Someone will find me before I get murdered. Literally my thought process. Like, and this is what I mean, is like, I'm somehow too nice. Like, I should have just declined the task to begin with. Anyways, so because I had his unit number, I was like, I'm just gonna walk into the building and go to his unit number. So of course I can't find the front of the building. So I have to call him. He's like, are you on the entrance side or the exit side? As if I've ever been to this building before. Like, I don't know. I don't know which side I'm on. So first I hear people in the background. He's like talking to someone else, and then he's like trying to talk to me, and then there's a dog. There's just a lot going on, and to be honest, it was like very overwhelming. I was like, okay, there's at least one other person, there's a dog, like I'm literally keeping tabs on like all these different things. I literally can't even tell you. It was like I couldn't even follow what he was saying. Like, he was just so like sporadic and all over the place. He said he had to go to PetSmart. Like, I'm pulling up front, you can get in, we're gonna go to PetSmart. And I was like, is this a bad time? Like, you hired me to come over for an hour and look at your apartment to assess how much work needed to be done, and now you're telling me to get in a car with you and go to PetSmart? And he kind of disregarded what I said. I literally don't, his words were so jumbled, and again, it was just like sporadic thoughts. He was talking to people, he was walking, he was with a dog, he was talking to me, and he's like, I'm gonna pull up front, I'm in a silver, whatever, just hop in. And I told him, I was like, I'm not getting in a car with someone I've never met, I'm sorry. I was like very, honestly frustrated at this point. I literally started to turn around and walk back to my car. Like, I was like, I'm leaving, I'm forfeiting this task, this is a bunch of bull. He's like, where are you? And I was like so annoyed, I didn't even answer. I was just like, you know when you get to that point, like you're so frustrated with someone that you don't even want to bother taking the energy to talk to them? That was me in this moment. Didn't respond because I don't want to tell you where I am, sir. You're acting sus, I'm not interested. He's like, are you in all black? And I was like, turn around, I'm in the red hat. So I turn around and there he is with a dog walking towards me in a red hat. So then we hang up the phone and I start walking towards him. He introduces himself, he introduces the dog, which is not his. And then he's like, well, why don't we go up to the apartment and I'll show you whatever. So now I'm confused because I was like, you're just trying to get me to get in a car with you, and now we're suddenly going inside. Like, so I go very cautiously with him upstairs. He said something about PetSmart and IKEA, and I'm thinking we only have an hour. Like I'm a little confused at the time frame, and like, this isn't why I initially came over. It's just really weird. He kind of got frustrated with me, which was equally as annoying. He made a sassy comment about how usually his personal assistants run errands with him, and I'm like, okay, well, you didn't hire me to be a personal assistant. You hired me to help you unpack your apartment. So then we walk into his apartment, and there's a woman on the couch, and honestly, that was just like instant relief. I was afraid there was gonna be another man there, and then it would just be even more uncomfortable, basically. Like, again, this is just, as a woman, things you need to think about and worry about, unfortunately. He's showing me the apartment, and he was legit. Like, he just moved in, stuff was everywhere. He needed help unpacking and organizing. This is my neighbor's dog. I want to take him to PetSmart to get a toy. If you don't have time, that's fine, but I also wanted to go to IKEA to look at furniture to get like a shelving unit or something. And he's like, I mean, I understand if you don't feel comfortable, but blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I didn't feel comfortable because I don't know you. I can't just like be hopping in cars with random men, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I get that. Sure you do. I ended up going to PetSmart with him. I think I told him I had like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So we went to PetSmart with the dog. We bought a toy. We went to Fiesta Island in San Diego, which is just some like beach island. Played with the dog for like 30 minutes. Before we went to IKEA, he goes to drop the dog off. He gets out of the car with the dog. He leaves the car running, and he leaves his cell phone and his wallet in the car, with just me in the car with the car running. These are the things that really confuse me about people. You just met me. So then we went to IKEA, we looked at some furniture, and we literally went, picked out the shelves that he was going to buy, and then we left. At this point, I'm gonna give you my initial reactions about this guy. He's definitely a little odd. He did tell me he was new to TaskRabbit, so I think to a certain extent he didn't understand how TaskRabbit works. Going into the second day, we didn't have an end time, but I told him when I had availability. I also learned real quick that when I tell him I have availability, he literally wants to fill the availability for like no reason. I'll get into it, you'll see. But I come over and he wants me to assemble IKEA furniture by myself. I can do it, right? But I don't want to. There literally is a category to assemble IKEA furniture. If you go under that category, I am not under there. You wanna know why? Because I don't want to be. This is something I'm working on because I know it's not like ideal, right? Like this is a thing that Siobhan needs to work on. When I don't wanna do things, I need to learn to speak up because I don't usually. I just kind of suck it up and do it anyways. And from there, we went to the Container Store. We were supposed to buy bins for the shelves. We ended up buying a shoe rack instead. After day 2, I was trying to determine if it was like worth it for me to continue working for him. We're not getting through a lot. This is the second day and I still haven't unpacked anything. He seems a little disorganized, but also not really interested in being organized. It was like I was coming over, not really sure what we were doing, and it was as if he wasn't really sure what we were doing either. After the second day, I was a little like, I don't know. I was also exhausted. I am someone who gets very energetically drained from just social situations. I'm that classic introverted extrovert where I love being around people, but if I have to socialize too much, I need to sleep for like 3 days. The next day comes around and he texts me and asks if I want to work. 2 issues I have with this. 1, why didn't you contact me the day before and make a plan? I pretty much assumed he didn't need me that day because we hadn't talked about it prior. The other thing is I genuinely was very exhausted from not only building the IKEA furniture, but he was coming off as someone who needs that social stimulation. The reason I do TaskRabbit, it's very little contact with other people. Like, I just don't have the bandwidth to be your like fake friend that you pay for. And that's kind of what it felt like. didn't really want to work over the weekend for him. Throughout the weekend, it was kind of like he was texting me every day, trying to make plans like the day of, and that just, I felt like I had to work every day until the project got done. But this kind of project felt like there was no end in sight. I was trying to be very clear with him about my availability. I said, that's pretty much the time frame I'm available throughout the week. Let me know what days you need me. He only let me know about Monday. I don't really know what the issue was, but it's like he wasn't understanding what I was saying. It's like, if you need me, let's book the time. If you don't need me, I'm not a play it by ear type. I am a play it by ear type of girl, but like not when other people are playing it by ear. Like, I want to play it by ear. I don't want you to play me by ear. You know, Monday comes, I get hired on TaskRabbit by him. It was a personal assistant task. I don't even think there was like any description. I don't remember. He said he like lost his phone, call me here. You clearly have a phone because you're on this app. I need to call you through the app. Like, I don't know. I was very confused. I called him through the app and he was like, hey, I was just checking you were still coming over at 2. And I was like, yep. Basically, he was hanging out with someone the night before, and when they left, they took his phone and he took their phone. So he had the other person's phone, basically. Long story short. He said, meet me out front. We're gonna go run some errands. I was like, okay. First, we go to a mechanic. He's like looking for someone who wasn't there. And he told me we have to drive almost like down to the border, which is only like 20-25 minutes. Like, the border is pretty close. We go to this house and the person he's looking for also isn't there. Apparently it was the person who had his phone. The other thing about him is it's like he's so vague. I'm very straightforward with him. I'm like, what's going on? Why is this happening? It's like I still don't totally understand what's happening. We go to Walmart because he wants something for his Xbox and then garment bags. It was almost like he was finding things to do instead of actually having things to do. Oh, after that, we started driving back up to San Diego. He made a joke about how he was gonna make the description of the task on TaskRabbit something like, go to the dispensary and pick me up XYZ. And I told him, I was like, I've never been to a dispensary before, so I definitely would have forfeit that task. He couldn't believe that I'd never been to a dispensary, so we literally stopped and went to a dispensary. You're literally paying me for this. So then we drove back up to San Diego. We were like downtown somewhere, driving around. He stopped, he got out. Like, again, it felt like wasting time to waste it. We weren't being productive. He said he would buy me lunch, so we got sandwiches from a sandwich shop. The reason we got sandwiches was because he's like, yeah, we need to like eat fast so we can like get other things done. We literally went back to his apartment and then we sat down to eat sandwiches. He put on a documentary and we watched the documentary until the time that I had to go. That entire day I did nothing. And he paid me for it. Like, I don't really know what he needed me for other than companionship. I never felt like he was flirting with me or hitting on me. He literally just wanted someone to hang out with. And he was talking about hanging out with me like outside of work. Hanging out with you isn't like relaxing to me. It's like energetically draining. And when I say that, like, he's not a bad guy. If you read my story time on my blog, it was the exact same scenario where it's like, you're not a bad person. Like, I'm not saying that like you're a creep or you're anything. It's just I, as I am, can't give you what you are looking for. The other problem that I was running into, because I did absolutely nothing, you're gonna pay me to do nothing. But then the times where you actually want me to do something, why would I actually do something for the same amount of money? I no longer feel like I'm working for you. I also feel like I'm controlling the situation more than you're controlling the situation. You're paying me to hang out with you. It just goes back to who I am as a person. It turns into a lot of work for me. So the following day, he had messaged me about coming over at the same time, and I told him, I was like, you didn't schedule me. He texted me later that night, kind of trying to, I don't really know why, it was like trying to make small talk, but at the same time, I felt like he was texting me for another reason. I am also not someone who does small talk through texting. Like, you're either texting me for a reason or you're somehow entertaining me. I don't do the whole like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. Like, how's this going? Oh, it's great. I don't do that at all. Him texting me anyways, like, I'm not gonna respond. I don't even respond to my friends. I don't. They love me, they call me. Just call me. But not him, because I don't want to actually talk to you. The following day, he texted me maybe midday, and he ended up texting me around like 2 or 3 p.m. asking if I was available. He told me that it was like a 1-hour errand and he was gonna pick me up and drop me off. What are we doing? What is this errand that you need me to, and you're not even telling me what it is? Like, it's just weird. And then I think a few hours later he called me. He was originally trying to get me to hang out that night. I was going to send him a text and just say like, hey, this isn't working out, blah, 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 blah. But after he hit me up 3 times, I know you shouldn't ghost people. I know, but honestly, some people ask for it, and he was asking for it. Like, you're gonna hit me up 3 different times in the same day. I don't owe you anything. I don't have to respond. I don't have to answer. You continually trying, do you think I'm going to miraculously answer the phone? I'm purposely not answering you. I will message someone once, and then maybe I'll message them 2 days later. And if they don't respond, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm over it. It's not like rocket science to figure this out. And yeah, that is pretty much the story. I think what it comes down to is he's just a little odd. He wasn't rude. He was actually very polite. We did not align as people. Again, I think I'm just too nice or something, because I tend to attract these types of people towards me. I'm not really sure why. I hope that you enjoyed this story time. If you did, I would love a thumbs up. And if you're interested in seeing more, please subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.